Welcome to our video section, Karthik. It's great to have you here. My name is Jessica, and I'm a partnerships manager at Scispot, and we are super excited to talk to you today about how you've been using our platform. So do you mind introducing yourself and giving a brief overview of what you do at Persist AI?
So my name is Karthik. I'm the CEO of Persist AI. I kind of oversee everything and do a little bit of everything, but never get to do anything deeply.
How has Scispot's data infrastructure helped you become ready for artificial intelligence and machine learning?
As part of the data that we collect as a bio company, we get all kinds, right? We've got tabular data that we're collecting. We're getting assay data. We're getting data from images that we're taking. It's all kinds of instruments, all kinds of sources. And the nice thing about Scispot is you can put it all in one place and you can cross-reference it. So I do an experiment on one day and I can refer to data from a different day, for example. The other kind of nice thing is we're talking about data from experiments, right? There's also the other kind of data, which is how is the company organized? So where are all of our materials, for example, right? Are they in the -20? Which shelf, right? Those kind of things that maybe don't matter in a traditional information management system. Scispot makes it easy for a bio company like us to utilize. We can say, okay, like this box has this sample and it's in this location.
Do you mind also sharing how your proprietary technology works and how you are leveraging your AI?
Traditionally, it takes pharma about 5 years to develop a long-lasting drug formulation. So think of this as a way to package a drug so that when you give a subcutaneous, like under the skin injection, the drug slowly releases over a year. So we use AI-driven automation in order to reduce the time it takes pharma to build these long-lasting injections. The goal is to reduce the overall time by about 50%. Drug formulation it's like packaging. So companies that are pharma companies will develop drugs. And then those drugs then need to be packaged in a way that can be delivered inside the body. The kind of package we develop is a package that you can give as a subcutaneous injection, and then it'll slowly degrade in the body and release the drug over time. So imagine, not going to the doctor every week. You could go maybe once every 3 months or once every year with one of our injections. You need to test how different polymers and different other additives change the rate of drug release and how much drug is actually inside the package. And so what we do is we physically use robotics to test a bunch of different packages with different polymers, different additives. And then we train up our AI to use the patterns that we develop to predict, okay, for this next drug, that's a new pharma client, how do we do this faster and faster?
What were you doing before Scispot, and how have you improved since adopting our platform? It seems like you're improving in many ways, but is there anything specific that comes to mind?
Well, before Scispot, we were in Excel. So you know how it is. When you're a small company, you use Excel and Google Sheets as much as you can, but it only works to some extent. With Scispot, it becomes a lot simpler. You don't need to manage multiple Excel sheets. You don't have to worry about giving your entire team permissions to modify, each Excel sheet that you're working on. It's kind of all in one central hub, and all permissions are managed through Scispot.
What made you choose Scispot over other platforms to use when you were looking to upgrade from Excel?
Excel is perfect for like a 1 or 2 person company, right?
Yeah.
The other solutions out there are meant for big companies, right? Like Benchling, for example. Scispot's in the middle. It's meant for the small guy who's slowly growing into one of the bigger ones. That's why we chose Scispot.
Have you noticed any changes in your R&D process since implementing Scispot?
Things are more organized. So, every day we do a set of experiments. The experiments reuse templates of protocols that we've developed. All of this goes into a central lab sheet database. You can have different databases for different uses. Some are customer facing, some are internal facing. There's automated data transfer between different lab sheets. There's also automated ways of cleaning up our data. All that is stuff that we do within the Scispot interface, which was previously done manually.
Would you say that Scispot is pretty user-friendly? Did you find it easy to adapt, or was there any challenges with that?
It was very easy to adopt, especially with the help of the team. So we have a dedicated scientist on the on the Scispot side, who's helping us. Her name's Pooja.
Yes,
And
Pooja
then
is
everyone
amazing.
is awesome. And like every once in a while, right, if Pooja can't solve it, she'll actually bring in the CTO, Satya, to come in and help us. And they'll figure out what is the workaround for now. And they'll also figure out, okay, what's a future feature that, it'll take them a while to build, but it'll eventually solve our problem without being a band-aid. So they kind of help us figure out both, right?
What specific features of Scispot do you find the most valuable?
Having a central database for all the information is very valuable, because then all of our experimental data, you can kind of organize it and put it in there. The nice thing about Scispot is you've got both the structured lab sheet kind of data, but you also have just a doc where you can put unstructured data and tables and things. And then you've also kind of built in Python, Jupyter notebooks so that you can automate some of the tasks that are more repeatable. And there's options for import and export of data. So it's kind of an ecosystem in that sense that we like. You can't really say there's one feature that you use more than anything else. There's just a lot of stuff.
Through that, have you been able to identify new insights or patterns in your data using Scispot? And has it helped make your data more easily accessible and easier to analyze?
The Scispot database is meant for human readable information, right? There's a lot of data that we collect. And so it's kind of hard to develop patterns without using some of the Python capabilities that we have. So through Scispot, we use Python to analyze the lab sheets database and develop our insights. We also build our ML models on the Scispot database through the API that kind of exposes lab sheets.
Have you experienced any cost savings or other efficiency gains since implementing Scispot?
There's definitely less mental challenges, right? You kind of know where everything is supposed to be when you use the Scispot program. But I mean, compared to Excel, it's hard to save cost, right?
Yeah.
And so in that sense, you can't really say much. And then like compared to Benchling, which we haven't used because it was just too big a product for us, it's kind of hard to say as well.
Would you recommend Scispot to other AI-enabled biotech companies, and why or why not?
As a small bio company, you're kind of limited in your options, right? Scispot fills this kind of critical gap between being a one-person company and a 100-person company. And so, yes, you should definitely use Scispot, and it'll help you grow. Now, once you get to 100 people, then you'll have a decision to make. The Scispot team rolls out a new feature every week. And as such, maybe by the time you're 100 people, Scispot will be ready for you. But if it's not, then you get to explore other options, right? And you'll kind of have to make your own judgment. So as a small biotech company, I say yes. As a later stage company, I say I don't know, because that's a later stage.
What type of impact? I know you've already kind of answered some of this question, but if you don't mind elaborating maybe a little bit more on what type of impact you see after digitally transforming your entire R&D workflows, and how this will help benefit your company over the next few years as you continue to grow.
What's interesting about our field is that currently most of this is done manually. We are one of the few companies applying robotics to it. And as such, we gather a lot more information, and it all has to be digitized in order for us to make the kind of AI-driven insights that we want. Digitization is everything for us, right? There's no manual as much as possible. We have to use the digital methods, and we have to use the Scispot database to kind of capture all the information we're gathering.
For the final question, was there anything else that you wanted to share about your experience using Scispot?
The software is nice, but the team is even more awesome. Yeah. And then we also know that there's always going to be features that come and help support us. So we are, very happy being users of Scispot. And you've noticed, like, we've slowly expanded how many team members are onboarded and how many people are using the program and how often we use the program.
That's great. We are really happy to hear that, and always happy to be here to support you. And thanks again for choosing Scispot, and thank you so much for taking the time for this interview.